What is new and original about the Christian faith? Pope Francis gave the answer in a reflection he wrote some years ago, published by Orbis Books, about today's Gospel from Matthew. There, Jesus tells the parable of a landowner who plants a vineyard and leases it out to tenants. They take over the vineyard, refuse to hand over the harvest, and kill the owner's servants and eventually his son. The parable is a clear challenge to Jesus' opponents who stand for those among his own people, and perhaps any of us as well down through history, who reject God's generous invitation to love. Pope Francis calls this parable a love story, a story of God's covenant with the human family. We're invited to participate in that relationship of love. Like any love story, Pope Francis writes, this story of the covenant has its positive moments, but is also marked by betrayal and rejection. Despite the disappointment on God's part over humankind's sinfulness, this love story shows the uniqueness of Christianity, the Pope says, noting that the story shows us how God does not fail to keep his word, does not give up, and most of all does not seek vengeance. Rather, God continues to offer us forgiveness. Christ, Pope Francis writes, is the first stone rejected by the builders through situations of weakness and sin. God continues to circulate the new wine of his vineyard, namely mercy. It is only our arrogance and our conceit which at times turn into violence, which present an obstacle to God's will to embrace us. Mercy is a major theme of many of Pope Francis' writings throughout his papacy, and he concludes in his commentary on today's Gospel that the merciful proposal of love that God makes through Jesus and continues to make with humanity is what is new and original about the Christian faith. Our faith is not primarily about laws or moral norms, the Pope says. Rather, it's an invitation into a love story, an offer to become, in the words of our first reading today, God's vineyard, one that bears fruit in hope and in service to all.